Okay, so this is a quick run through again. I'll go through a couple more details of the project, how we get going on it. If we look at my project here on the screen, what we can see here is that I've created a whole bunch of layers that I'm going to put into the model. The model is this here. This is an input layer, this is an input layer, this is an input layer. These three are the positives. You can see them, I've grouped them here as positives, and then all my negatives I've got here in this group. This is just keeping things tidy. All of these are layers that I have had to create either directly by buffering from an existing layer or by creating an intermediate layer that is a subset of what is of the base data, and then buffered those out, and then I've put them into these groups just to keep things tidy, and then I've just simply pulled them into this model. I'll go through this process. I'll show you just very quickly. Here I have a group of those, some of those intermediate layers. But okay, let's just start by looking at land use. So we've got the land use layers here, and we only want a couple of those land use layers. We want the open area and the coniferous woodland. So in order to just get those two, we need to create a new layer to use in our model. So we can go data, export features, and then we need to be output location is our project there, and we'll call this just as land use example. I've already done all of this, so I need to think of new names. And then we need to select out the data. So we can create an expression here, detailtype. So what is it? Is equal to, and then we can list them here, and we know that uppmark is one of them. We can add a clause, and we want an or there. And then we go detailtype again, and then we want skogbar, I believe. Yeah. So we can either just leave it like that. If we look at the SQL query, and we can see detailtype is equal to uppmark, or detailtype is equal to skogbar. That works. Another alternative would be in SQL. We could just do this and then we put in a little parenthesis. We go here and we mark all of that, replace it with a comma, go to the end, and then close off this. And this is just simply saying where this, whatever's in this column, detailtype, is in this list. And if it finds any one of those, just get good. So we can run this. That won't take long. And then we get this layer, and this has been produced. You can see this at the top here. Now the problem here is, if we mark this, we can see that actually what we have is a collection of polygons. Some of them are quite large, but it's not a contiguous surface. And we don't care what the land use is, as long as it's one of these two. The area that we're looking for at the end, it needs to sit together, because we need an area of 10,000 square meters. So we need to be able to find an area that is that big, and it doesn't matter what the land use at the moment is now, as long as it's one of those two, or collection of those two, it doesn't matter. So we need to push these two together. We need to clump them all together. So this is suitable land use, current land use. So we need to merge these. We need to dissolve these. It feels like a merge, and in many respects it is, but just technically speaking, in this language, it's called a dissolve. When we find dissolve here, we're under analysis. We go to dissolve, click on dissolve. Input features is going to be this, and we're going to, output feature class is called that. And this behaves a little differently, unfortunately. So we're in the project, you can see that. And we'll just call this land use dis. We're going to dis it. And dissolve fields, if we sort of click on the information thing there, which field we're going to use. We're not going to use any field. We just, anything that's in this layer, put it there. If they've got a common edge, if they meet anywhere, we'll just push them together. Click on run. Otherwise, you can control which ones. If you choose a column and say, well, if they're of the same type, then they'll dissolve together. Otherwise, they won't. But we don't care. We know all of these are valid. So we've dissolved, and we can see there's still a line here, but that's because these two areas don't touch each other. There's actually a river running through here, so they're not in contact. And that doesn't matter for our analysis, because we're not going to build on a river anyway. We're not even going to build near a river. So that that little gap there is not relevant for us. So that's that layer. Now we've created that. That would actually then, I would have put that here. That's the equivalent to this layer I've got here, this land use down there. It's exactly the same thing. In fact, I can show you that now. So click on remove and I can turn that one on and we can see they match up perfectly. So I'll just get rid of that now because I don't want it anymore. So now we've got our layers, and your layers will, these are the layers in these folders. These are the ones that are going to go into the model. And if yours don't look like this, you've got a problem. You need to go back and reanalyze because you made a mistake somewhere. So this is our land use. It has to look like this. These are the positive ones. Here are the roads buffered out to 150 meters. So these are the roads that we can use and then buffered out to 150 meters because we want to be close to an existing road. And then we have our soil map, and that looks like this. So those are all the positive ones. These images you'll find at the end of the instruction file as well. Now we look at the negative layers. Is our built up area up there, buffered out to 1,500. Nature reserve looks like that. The lakes look like that. And then the residential houses, churches, buffered out to 200 meters, looks like that. Non-residential out to 50 meters, looks like that. And this is our stream analysis, which you've done. You've run the provided hydrological model to analyze the DEM to create the streams, 50,000 as your condition, 50,000 upstream cells, and you get out a stream model, and then you buffer that out to 50 meters. That gets you that. And then the roads again buffered out to 10 meters. Here we don't want to build. We want to be near a road but not on it. So this is the negative roads. So maybe the only complication here is the streams. That comes from this layer. I don't know if you can see that. If I change the, I'm sorry, I'm still stuck in half map there, aren't I? Symbology is separate now. If I just change the symbology on that so that you can see it, we'll make that bright blue and a lot thicker. Apply there. So that's the result of the analysis of the DEM. There's two models provided for you. One analyzes the DEM to create the accumulation, and then the second model actually runs the analysis, and there you can specify 50,000 upstream cells. You could also use these models, take them somewhere else and apply them anywhere else you like, and do the analysis there using different criteria, different condition. Anyway, that has then been buffered out to this 50 meters there. So we don't need that anymore. So these are the layers that are going to be put into the model. The model is going to look like this. As you can see, I've just grouped these together to make them here, just to make it look nice. This doesn't really do anything, but let's just show you how to make a model. I'll just create a new one here quickly. So here's our land use, put it in, land use, roads, and soil. That wasn't very difficult. And then we go to tools, and then we want the intersect is there. Click there, so intersect, and then we just pull down there, and that is an input feature. Pull down there, that is an input feature. Pull down there, that is an input feature. And then we can go here and click on open. And if we want, we can change the name of what comes out, which I suggest we do. We change the name there, we click on OK, and we can move on. And then we can, actually, let's just tidy this up. Click on auto layout there, and that's all nice and tidy. We can move that up there if we like. We can even, if we want, mark those three now, and just use the group tool, which is up here somewhere. There we go, group. If we want, we can then click on that and rename that group as positive. So there we have our positive group. And then you'll continue in the same way to get for the rest of the model. So it looks like this. And it's just the same basic process. The tools are up here. Just look for those tools and use them on these layers that you've created. And that's it. And you'll then get out, in the end, if you follow all of these instructions, you'll then get out a map that shows you all of the properties that fulfill these criteria. The last criteria, you will need to just search through the result file to find the one that is, or the ones that are large enough. So you have this final criteria of a surface, an area within one property that is large enough for the entire enterprise. You find that and you're done.